Hooverphonic is not named after the Hoover vacuum, but boy, can they blow out some beautiful music. Shall we talk about it?
Let's do
Let's do
this.
this.
That is right. Belgium has revealed their Eurovision 2020 act, and it is the ambient pop group Hooverphonic. They've been on the Belgian music scene for like 25 years. We are talking decades of experience. People had talked about them for years in the Euro fandom, wanted them to come. I had only listened to their old songs, and to be honest, I thought they were a little old fashioned. However, they have a fantastic young vocalist now. Lucas, I believe is her name, and she can sing. Their more recent songs are absolutely amazing. They can do everything from kind of jazz influenced, cynic sounding, like classic chanson to kind of more modern, I don't want to say EDM, but dance influence numbers.
We're looking for stars, but we only find sugar.
Long story short, they are artistic, they are very diverse, and I think that they can definitely nail a 3-minute song. So things are looking very promising for Belgium. Porrig.
Yes, and I don't think it's any coincidence that you said that they sound a bit like Senik, because the lead singer, if I recall, was a mentor for Senik.
It's one of the
So,
songwriters,
okay.
not the
Uh,
lead singer. Yeah.
Okay. But then vibes, I listened to them in the car, their greatest hits coming home, and they have really lovely instrumentals and they're lush and it is very ambient. That's the genre. If you look it up on Wikipedia, they're a dream pop ambient group. Um, and I was kind of thinking when I was coming in, these are very much an album band because it sounds very nice, but there was nothing jumping out at me. But I would recommend our readers, if they're looking them up, don't go to the greatest hits that's on Spotify. Instead, go to YouTube and switch the view to the most popular videos, and there their big hits will come up. Like there was Bada Boom, and there was another one that was very big, has 83 million views. So like these aren't small fish.
Mad
Like
about
they're
you.
yeah, like 83 million views, and they're going off to Eurovision. And it's a thing that I don't think these are a band that even 10 years ago would ever consider Eurovision, but Belgium has put down the building blocks that now acts like this, feel comfortable going to Eurovision. And one last thing that I found quite amusing was, I think on Instagram, Luka, the female vocalist, it says something like born in 2000 or 2001 or something. And the band itself was formed in 1995.
Yeah, their origins are from the mid-90s, and they've been compared to the UK group Portishead, who were quite big in the mid-90s. But Hooverphonic have evolved. They're not like a 90s throwback act. They have this quite lush orchestral pop sound going on. I think Scenic has performed with them live, and there are some of their videos on YouTube are orchestral interpretations of their songs. So they have got this sense of pop, but they can also bring in a really big epic orchestral sound. And I think I would describe that as maybe like a perfect Eurovision formula. You've got something to appeal to the juries and hopefully something that the televoters will like as well.
Absolutely. The word evolution, they have evolved. This new lead singer gives them a whole new energy and vibrancy. Their song Looking for Stars, this came out on May 8th. There's a really lush, to use Robin's word, music video, and it's so edgy. You've got shirtless men in hoops descending from the sky. You've got androgynous men in leather riding, is it a tank, a car, riding on some kind of motor vehicle. You've just got a real edginess and a dance, vibe, but at the same time, they can do the type of music that Porrig referenced, Mad About You, with the symphonic sound, meaning we don't know what the heck to expect. I was on their channel, there's another song, it's got like a 50s pop vibe, like, like a doo-da, doo-wah, woo-da, boo-ba, you know what I'm
Bada
talking about?
Boom, was
Yeah,
it?
bada boom.
Bada Boom.
There's just so much going on. Horrible Person only came out 3 weeks ago. This has still a different quality. we don't know what to expect. They are Michaela Malta Chameleons, okay? Chameleon of Belgium. I think that in an interview, or rather, definitely in an interview, the guy who chose Belgium's act, the head of their selection committee, he admitted that they did Cynic wrong by giving her terrible staging. He admitted that maybe they haven't been so good on that front, and so they will want to do well with this band. This band has been at the top of their wish list for years, and now that they've finally agreed, I think Belgium will make the most of it.
And I think it's the full package, because even one of the songs I had it on and the lyrics just jumped out at me. Like, it's kind of, they can do serious and they can do quirky, because there's this song called Amalfi and it goes like this: you're like a really strong cup of tea, giving me more than energy. Caffeine is just a small advance for all the triggers that make me na 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 na. And so like they're playful and serious, and like it'll be really interesting to see what route they go down for Rotterdam. And I think one thing is for sure is that they're not going to give us a formulaic song. I think it's a bit like Kate Miller-Heidke had a very diverse catalogue and back catalogue before Eurovision, but yet she had nothing at all like Zero Gravity in her previous work, and she kind of took elements from all her different songs and built that. And I think Hooverphonic maybe might do something as well and just create something spectacular.
The one thing we do know about this song is it will have English lyrics. There was a bit of speculation that because Eurovision 2020 was being hosted in the Netherlands, that VRT would go all out with a Dutch language song, but they're not doing that. They're sticking with English, and I think that's a good choice. Like, that's Hooverphonic's, what their other songs have been, and you know, their English is good. They can express themselves well, and I think, like with anyone, having English lyrics is going to make your song more accessible to a wider audience. So, but we won't know. We won't know what it's going to sound like or what anything else about it until, I think they've said early 2020. So we'll just have to wait.
Quickly, here are some comments from our readers. Talentina Moneta says, what a great start to the 2020 season. Mariko says, meh. As a Belgian, I feel like this is a really boring choice. Hooverphonic was interesting years ago, but not anymore. I'm worried a Durood thing might happen. Scrolling further down, we have Joust in E says, intriguing what they're going to send. Belgium does seem to be trapped in dark ambient music recently. About Hooverphonic, their music is good, and I hope their song for Rotterdam is perfect. And finally, ESC Veggie says, does Belgium have a fetish for James Bond music? Now, to pick up on that, I'm hoping they don't go the James Bond symphonic route. I think that these songs tend to bleed together. Even if they're very high quality and performed beautifully, you're like, oh, it's a James Bond song. Whereas if you send an edgy, contemporary, dark art pop song, which Belgium is very good at, you stand out, because other countries can never match that, or rarely match that. So my vote would be for the latter, for the type of music they've been putting out recently. And also, they're touring all over Europe, guys, going to Hungary, Romania, Greece already. Like, they already have these dates in the calendar. So they have their own Eurovision promo tour going on. I'm really excited about this.
And I think the Durood comparison is very misplaced, because he had one big song in the 90s, and I'm just looking at their discography on Wikipedia, and they've about 10 albums, 9 of which have been top 10, and 8 of those have been top 5. So like, that's no mean feat that virtually every single album you've released goes straight into top 10, and the only one that didn't was still top 20, and that was their very first one. So like, their last album was in 2018. That was number 4. It went gold in Belgium. Durood, his last song was in 2000, and he didn't do much spectacular since then. So it's like comparing apples and some prehistoric extinct fruit.
Listen, prehistoric fruit is rare and delicious. Durood is amazing. He is the nicest man I've ever met in my life, honestly. Me and Debin went to his concert in London recently. He is so good live. I think maybe, people need to back off on my man Durood. Anyways, Robin.
Yeah, I was just going to say something, not being shady about Durood, but his songs the 3 songs that he wrote, they felt like attempts at Eurovision songs, whereas Alex from Hooverphonic, who co-wrote Scenic's song A Matter of Time, that didn't sound like anything close to a cliched Eurovision song. He seems like he's got a really good sense of just good songwriting, and maybe there's a modern Belgium Eurovision song. We know that sort of moody pop. But yeah, I don't think it will just be, oh, Eurovision, what's that? Like, he is a huge fan. He's a huge fan of Eurovision, and he also knows how to write a good song. And I think he'll put those 2 things together, or the group will put those 2 things together in the right way, and it won't be a failure, I hope.
Final point for me, the past 2 years we've kind of moaned about the Belgian staging. I think you had 2 younger artists who hadn't had many large stage shows, so they had less of a sense of what to do on stage, so the production team took over. With Hooverphonic, they're going to have a vision and a perspective, and I want to see producers try to tell them what kind of staging to have, because Hooverphonic is going to be hoovering up their own staging, if you know what I'm saying. Finally, the Hoover reference, of course, Hoover is a vacuum. It turns out the band did want to go by Hoover, but they did a Google and they realized there were, or back in 95, whatever it was, they did a pigeon search, that Hoover was being used by many bands already, and they wanted to avoid copyright issues with Hoover the vacuum. Oh my God, they are so interesting. In any case, that's what we think. What do you think? Are you ready to hit the switch on your Hooverphonic machine? Do you think they can slay and take Belgium back to the final? Let us know here on wiwibloggs.
And if you like the post, give us a thumbs up.
And Eurovision season is officially back on, so to make sure you don't miss a thing, subscribe and turn on notifications.
And by the way, this is the first time Pork has not been a video in like ages. Like, my girl Robin's been chiming in during the season, but Pork, you are back.
I'm back in the land of the living, yes.
Oh my God, we are so happy to welcome you. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.